your kids can invest in the future.
This has been, a 4-year mission in the making. Thanks to you guys. You were early supporters, backers. We talked about it on here. And, founders are crazy. And you guys probably looked at what I was working on and thought, you're nuts. You're wasting your time on this. And so, when it got signed into law last year, that's a huge moment in a founder journey. That's like getting your first round of funding, maybe. Like, okay, this thing is going to happen. But on July 4th of this year, the app went live, right? So that means millions of accounts got created, the accounts got funded. And to celebrate that and to really kind of take the next step forward, we designed a joint bell ringing, first in history, between the NYSE and NASDAQ from the Oval Office that was incredible. We had 100 CEOs there, kids there, families that were impacted. And the president really, kind of laid out that this is much bigger than just a program to give a few people some accounts. This is really about making every child a capitalist. In fact, the president suggested that we're going to auto-create accounts for all 50 million kids or upwards of 70 million kids under the age of 18. So he called on us to get the accounts open faster for more people, to have more impact, to make sure no child is left behind.
Brad, just slow down, because a lot of people don't even know what a Trump account is. Just explain what it is, and then you should contrast it to like a 529 account and some of these other things.
Great. So, as you guys know, the idea was very simple: $1,000 for every child at birth that could compound for their life in a privately owned investment account. So you're born, you get a social security number, and you get an investment account. And if you do that, you start with $1,000 and somebody matches that and you save $10 a week, that's $50,000 at age 18. And the idea
and that's invested in the S&P 500?
S&P 500. So when these accounts are created, all that money goes into the S&P 500. There's no cost. It's a free account for the lifetime of the recipient. And that was packaged into the Invest America Act, which was passed into law a year ago as part of the reconciliation bill. So that's what actually occurred on July 4th of this year. All those accounts were created for all of these kids. That's the reason the Trump account app is number one in the App Store, because parents started hearing about this and saying, whoa, I need to go download and get this set up for my child. We had over 1.5 million accounts created in the first 24 hours after the launch of this. We had over $1 billion of deposits. So I was contributing money into the accounts of my nieces, my nephews, my kids, friends' kids. Every account app has a QR code, Jason. So somebody can just send you the QR code for your kid. You Apple Pay on your phone, double click, and you send them $25 or $50. So that is kind of the most essential part of it. But we also had a bunch of announcements around philanthropy.
And just to be clear, you can get access to that when you're 18, 19, 20 years old and start putting it towards school, or you can roll it into your
IRA,
Roth IRA, I guess your retirement account. Obviously, Michael and Susan Dell were the anchors here. It's over $6 billion, $250 for each of 25 million children, primarily lower and middle income kids. SpaceX's president, Gwen Shotwell, she joined the party, put $350 million in her SpaceX shares and for children of lower income communities. So with this, there's a device or some way to do it so you can target specific communities by geo or by, I guess, their net worth.
No, it's just zip code and age. Zip code and age.
Okay. And then Micron put in $250 million, up to $1,000 per employee. So that seems to be a really interesting way to do this. Like you can do an employer contribution.
Brad did it for all kids in Indiana, I think, right?
Correct. All kids under 5
this is a big.
On the one hand, you have Bernie and Mandami. They want to take and tax all these corporations. They want to control all that money in Washington and decide who gets it, right? It's a very dependent on Washington model. On the other side, you have the president and this administration, and frankly, a lot of Democrats who are more in the orthodoxy, closer to the center, who say, no, let's set up a private account for every kid in America. Let's fund them. Let's not make them dependent. Let's make them independent of the government to build wealth on their own, financial literacy on their own, more likely to graduate from high school, start a business, buy a home. Those are two very different worldviews for America. And I think the antidote to more socialism is more capitalism. And